So, Brian, dude, I gotta tell you. So I went to the barber
All
and
right.
on Tuesday, and it was a little uneven. So I ended up having to get it trimmed up a little bit more than I thought it was gonna be.
I got
But,
you.
dude, I dig it. So far, people are digging it.
Yeah.
It's a little less, but you know what? Sometimes less is more.
I mean, you look like the unverified love child of Hugh Jackman and Chris Stapleton, sir. So, you know,
What
I'm
more
not
can I
sure
ask
who
for?
would be the father, but in the case of 40-something-year-old Bradley Buchanan, Chris Stapleton slash Logan slash Hugh Jackman, you both the fathers. Hey, whatever works. Whatever
Hey,
works.
man, because DNA.
Yes, 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 absolutely. And you know what? I dated Donna once. She was a problem.
Mhm.
Okay. More more folks been called by DNA than by the FBI. But with that, those are the three letters that'll get you in the end, my friend.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
oh yes.
I,
Ask anybody that's been on Maury.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I also had a barbershop experience. I went on Friday to get my hair cut, get my beard lined up, and I found out something I did not know about my barbershop. Apparently every barber in my barbershop experiences glaucoma because they were all um treating, they
Yeah,
all, I'm sure, only with a prescription and the proper medical professional supervision. Like I was like, I was empowered, I was
mhm.
inspired by how so many of the barbers and their customers were actively treating their glaucoma. Just, you know, we shall not be, we shall overcome, sir.
I that sounds like
The
a great idea.
courage of the human spirit. Like I heard some remix of Chariots of Fire with Snoop. It was great. It was beautiful.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
You know what? That while that last part is a little fictitious, I think we need to figure that out. So
I
Snoop, if
call
you're
them up.
listening,
Yeah,
and we
and we
know
know
you
you
are,
are.
we need a remix of you over the Chariots of Fire theme song. Yeah.
Yes. Well, with that being
Or
said, man.
or the something of fire.
Well, talk about fire. What's your movie and TV show of the week?
Okay, I'll start off with my TV show of the week, which is The Mandalorian. Okay, which was just fantastic. We got to see Grogu go Grogu, but can you imagine? By the way, we learned also that you don't speak unless something is known. And I don't
Yes.
care if someone is 2 feet tall and weighs about 13 ounces, who's also 50 years old. Don't push that. So yeah, so to see Grogu and Mandalorian training. Got a breastplate made of Beskar, just
Hmm.
all the things. They got to give us Grogu with a helmet. I want
Hmm.
a Grogu helmet by the end of the season. But that is my show of the week and my movie of the week. Something we may have this in common is a little known film starring a guy named Keanu, and it was all about John Wick Chapter 4.
Yep. So I couldn't decide. I got three TV shows that I just got to bring up for my shows of the week.
Okay?
Mandalorian, because not only that, but Ahmed Best,
Yes.
dude, dude, dude. Yeah. Also, I have to mention Picard because there was some big guests that show up there. And I don't know if you saw it, but did you watch Rabbit Hole?
Mm-mm.
So it's a new streaming show on Paramount Plus. It's
Okay.
got Kiefer Sutherland, and he's Kiefer Sutherland.
Only thing is, does the seconds and the minute click down during the show?
No,
Okay.
no,
All right.
but man, like through the first episode, and I can't wait to watch. You got to watch it. And let me know exactly what you think. But like through the first episode, you're like, it kind of takes you on a little ride, and
Sure.
then at the end they give you that cliffhanger, like, dude.
At any point, does Kiefer give a young, naive Jason Patrick a goblet of wine that turns out to be blood, and he starts to fly in the air? Does that happen at all?
No, but there may or may not be a very, very buff dude not wearing a shirt playing the saxophone.
I mean, that sounds like my kind of show right there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and just remember, you try to make me to a killer. No, Bradley, you are a killer.
That's right. All right. So I'm gonna throw out a link on is if you want to be part of the show. We're gonna try to do this pretty often. We're gonna see how it goes tonight, and then we're gonna do probably see how it goes, and then we'll go from there. I got a link. I'll throw a link out on there. So if you want to be part of the show, there's the link, and that'll pretty much just knock on our door. I gotta let you in, so let me
As
know.
always, ask permission. You know,
Right.
And here at the Revenge of the Nerds, we prefer to use the front door versus the back.
Especially if you go into your parents' room and you might be naked and alone or afraid
And or afraid.
and yeah, all right, okay.
Sometimes I just throw them up. Just a little layup, like, we'll just go there and just see if Brad will pick it up. Yes, sir, absolutely. I'm just waiting for someone to go, you know what, you two really need to just like go away. Until that point in time, remember, folks, we're free.
Right, and this is our therapy. So here's the music.
There it is.
Welcome to the Fandemic. This is a podcast that celebrates all the things that are awesome in our world. Every week we give you all the things to level up your awesome. In a Lone Star, I go through the best bad reviews that I can find based on title alone. In Prevenge of the Nerds, we tell you the stories that could have happened to you before and after your favorite movies, TV shows, and so much more. And in the Fandemic, we look at the supporting cast of properties we adore or tributes, our favorite actors, movies, and so much more. Also, every month, I'm going to have an interesting conversation with amazing people. I'm the self-proclaimed Emperor of Awesome, Bradley Butin, and this is
Brian S. Dennis with the S stands this week for 222 steps.
yes. All right. So, Brian, what are we talking about today?
All right, so we are going to do a tribute. So this week, and some weeks, we like to do different variants of our show. Sometimes we do a countdown, our top 5 with some honorable mentions, TV shows, movies, themes. We will prevenge and do after credits on movies that we enjoy, TV shows, and just characters that grab our imagination. And a new one that we're starting, we're going to call these our tributes, where you pick an actor / role and just really give you the background. We talk about their filmography, mention some really cool, maybe little known facts. We play with some think about this. And as always, we're going to put a little honest ad for you. So this week, we're talking about Keanu Reeves, but more specifically, Keanu Reeves and his role as John Wick.
Yeah.
So with that, Bradley, would you like to know some little known facts?
Yes.
About the John Wick franchise, sir?
I would love that.
Well, the original idea was for John Wick to be not only a retired hitman, but a retired elderly hitman. So then the original screenplay, John Wick was meant to be 75 years old. And while this actor had passed, they were looking for a Paul Newman type actor.
Huh.
Later on, though, it got brought up to Keanu Reeves, who loved the script, who loved the premise, and also loved the 2 directors of it, who were actually stuntmen regarding The Matrix.
That makes sense.
One of them is primarily Chad Stahelski, was Keanu Reeves' stuntman, primarily, obviously, with his role as Neo, but his partner, David Leitch, did many of the stunts for the agents, but he primarily is used as a stunt double due to his resemblance to one Brad Pitt and our boy, the muscles from Brussels, Jean-Claude Van Damn. All right. Couple other things for you. So last week we did a tribute to R.I.P. Lance Reddick and his character Sharon. Did you know that the character Sharon is actually taken from Greek mythology, as Sharon is the ferryman of the river Styx, which basically means his job is to ferry the souls of fallen soldiers into the afterworld. So he's the gatekeeper of the great resting place, hence the gatekeeper for the Continental. Last one's for you, sir. The movie's inspired by, and if you saw it, I'm not sure what theater you went to, but the theater I went to actually played this movie
Mhm.
before John Wick, it was inspired by the Clint Eastwood classic, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And finally, Keanu Reeves has a penchant for playing characters with the first name John. Bradley, how many movies or characters can you name in which Keanu Reeves' character was named either John or Johnny?
I mean, the obvious is Johnny Mnemonic.
That's one.
So and then John Wick.
Two.
I want to say there's 3 or 4, but I can't. I'm not thinking of any. So, but I'm gonna say there's 4.
There's five. There's 7 or 8 if you play with the name enough, but really there's 5 ones. Either the movie or the character itself is named John or Johnny. So you gave me
Oh, Johnny
Johnny.
Utah.
So you gave me 3. There's 2 more. 2 more.
Oh man.
One is one is not only the name of the title character, but also partly the name of the movie, if that helps.
Give it to me.
Maybe in DC
Oh, John Constantine. Gee.
or Constantine. And the last one is Jonathan Harker from Dracula.
Yep. Oh gosh. Leia, do you want to say hi?
Hi.
Hi, Princess. How are you?
How you doing there, kiddo?
Good.
Good. Awesome. All right. So it looks like she's gonna hang out for a little bit. Let's keep
Very
going.
cool.
All right. You have an honest ad?
I do, sir. So, because so much of the John Wick movies, a couple more things before I finish up. Just a couple more, just little known facts and things to keep in mind regarding the John Wick franchise is that the movie is consisted of, at this point, 4 feature-length films. There are 2 spin-off films planned, including John Wick Chapter 5,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to be quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is the prequel series, as well as the ballerina, and then the prequel series to it called the Continental After the Hotel, which is a safe haven, which is slated to come on, I believe, Paramount Plus later on this year. There's no the release date. It was really set to be a series that was going to be on Stars. Then it was later sold to Paramount. So that will be coming out later this year. And as always, it's one of the more successful franchises just based on the trilogy. The first 3, because the numbers of 4 obviously are still going to be coming in every week. But just looking at John Wick's chapters 1, 2, and 3 brought in almost $600 million. So a very successful franchise. And as I would say, in the voice of our boy from Bill and Ted,
Whoa.
Wild Stallions, my friend. All right, sir. The honest ad. All right. So while we're going to shift from stallion, going to switch to dogs, sir. Now, if you know anything about the John Wick series, that John Wick is a dog lover. In fact, his love of a dog actually is what kicked off the entire series. By the way, here's the deal. As a general rule, you shouldn't kick another man's dog and then should steal another man's car. Just make sure that neither belongs to the Baba Yaga. Just as a good idea. Make sure they do not belong to the boogeyman. But with that being said, here's an honest ad. If John Wick was the spokesperson for the ASPCA, the ASPCA is an organization dedicated to preventing animal cruelty. Your generous donation can give helpless animals a new life and provide effective means for the prevention of cruelty throughout the United States. However, if you're too busy or just don't care to donate, there will be hell to pay from the Baba Yaga. The boogeyman knows where you live, The boogeyman knows where you work, and the boogeyman even knows your bank account password. Donate, or John Wick will find you.
Well done, Brian. I dig it. All right.
Could you imagine if Keanu as John Wick did an ASPCA? Could you imagine the amount of funds that would be just donated? Like, I'm not even risking it.
He just shows up in the suit and doesn't even have to say anything, and just the phone starts ringing.
By the way, the fact that he ran that much in apparently a Kevlar suit is impressive.
Right? What's huh?
Bye bye. I gotta go.
Hi, bye, princess.
Oh, bye. All right. So yeah, dude, for sure. Now, do you want to take a guess at the rating of John Wick 4 from IMDb?
I have not looked at. Remind me, IMDb is on a what kind of scale?
1 through 10.
1 through 10. I'm gonna give, and I know they also do points, like points. I'm gonna give it an 8.7.
Wow, you would be really close. Well done. 8.5 out of 10.
Hey,
8.5. So now I'm going to test you here over on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, okay.
What do you think the Rotten Tomato meter is and the audience score?
Okay, again, give me how they rank those.
Just percentage. So 1 through 100.
Okay. So Rotten Tomatoes, I'm going to give it a 78.
78. Okay. Now is that the tomato meter or the audience score?
That's the tomato meter.
That's the tomato meter. What about the audience score?
Let me give it a 92.
Okay, so this is the first time I've ever seen this, and I dig into these for my Lone Star reviews.
Okay.
The tomato meter and the audience score as of this moment when we're recording is the same thing.
That never happens.
Correct. And better than that, the audience score and the tomato meter is 95%.
Wow.
95%, man. What? Yeah.
I had seen some of the early, because I went and saw it on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
I had seen some of the initial reviews had it being a really positive for it. Like I think it had the highest at least early ratings of the 4 films.
Yeah.
Not making the most money because the previous 3 before the pandemic. So I was just going to shift what movies make now considerably. But still, I mean, a 95% both audience and tomato score is really, really impressive.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, so let's give everybody a taste of what a Lone Star is. So what I'm going to do is I found a review. I picked it on the title alone, and this is a Lone Star review of John Wick Chapter 4. So what that means, this is a 1-star review, and let's go over the rage rating on these. So 1 rage emoji. There's some rage, but the review was thought out and had good points. This person is 0 to 25%. Good question. So this Doomass or dumbass? Should we go Doomass or dumbass, Brian?
You know, I say we go real fast and go Dumas.
Dumas. Oh, I like it.
Yes.
Dumas. All right, 2 rage emojis. This rage is clear, and there are clear, valid points made. The review is more opinionated than realistic. This person is 25 to 50% Dumas. 3 rage emojis. There is a lot of rage, and they make no points as to why. This person is 50 to 75% Dumas. And 4 rage emojis. There's so much rage that it's actually funny. This person is 75 to 100% Dumas.
At this point, you are a certified dumbass. So
yeah.
You're drinking all the haterade. Yes, sir.
All right. So this review is obviously from March of 2023, and it is titled John Wick Officially Jumps the Shark.
Well, you got to give him kudos when you get into it. I got to give him kudos for the jump the shark reference. So
right.
You got to give them. So most of these are people who typically, I would say, don't watch a lot of movies, but just the fact they jump the shark reference, they at least watch enough television to understand that's what they say. That's what you say when a series has gone maybe too far into the unrealistic. Remember, though, we're talking about John Wick. So let's see. Let's hit a review.
All right, and also another point I need to make is I don't reread these, so I read errors, everything like that. So
You do not clean them up.
I do not clean them up. All right. This movie is so bad that I stopped watching it inside the theater to write this review. What happened here? I was so excited to see this movie, and now I feel so let down. I come to see John Wick films for the immaculate and creative fight choreography. Do not walk into this movie expecting any of that. All the purism, which caused the first three films to shine, is gone. The John Wick franchise has completely disappeared up its own ass. This goofy underworld the movies created only worked when a normal world still existed in the Wick universe. But there is no real world anymore. Every single character in this movie looks cartoonish, like a steampunk character of a real person. Even the villains were painfully cartoonish. One of them even spotting a full mouth full of ridiculous gold teeth. I couldn't even look at him without laughing. I have thoughts on that.
There are some points to this one so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, let's discuss the action and the fight choreography. The two biggest letdowns about this film. This was not just bad fight choreography for the Wick universe. This is bad fight choreography for a straight to streaming action movie of the week. As Wick is fighting various henchmen in the ubiquitous club fight scene that goes down in every Wick movie, you can literally see the enemy assailants waiting their turns to attack him. Numerous times, you can clearly see a henchman in the background, literally just standing there, swinging his weapon at nothing because it isn't his turn yet in the choreography to attack Wick. Also, the gung fu crap. This was novel and fun in the first two movies. Now it's completely taken over. Rather than dazzling martial arts, melee weapons, and close quarters combat, we've come to expect from the franchise. Did he not see the nunchucks? I don't know. Anyway, we've now forced to settle for an endless barrage of gunfire and gratuitous headshots. There is very
there are bows and arrows too.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yes. Oh man. There's very little actual brawling in this film. It's like the scene in Indiana Jones where he opts to just shoot the sword-wielding henchman rather than actually fight him.
Well, you can tell that he wrote it in the middle of it because the brawling did come, but in the second half of the movie.
That's true.
He wrote this before he got to the brawling. Okay.
Yeah. John Wick Chapter 4 is just that scene repeated over and over and over again. Every time a new villain squares off to John and appears that they will be formidable, Wick just shoots them in the head immediately without even so much as a slap fight to satiate.
Yeah.
I know it. Yeah. Our palates. It gets so boring to watch really fast. I think Keanu is getting up there in years, and
he's 58. He's 58.
He is getting up there, yeah. And can't quite being the furry. Bring the furry. He spelled it as furry.
Bringing the furries is another podcast. I mean, I'm sure. But no judgment. Great work over there. But you know,
girl.
Hey, but but by the way, that was no shade to Keanu. I wish I looked like Keanu. Okay, Keanu's quite a bit older than I am. I wish I looked like Keanu Reeves at 58 or 38 or whatever. So but he is 58 years old. So again, give him credit.
So the filmmakers decided to just let him shoot everybody rather than fight them. Now let's go back.
I know when I'm in a death battle, what I want to do is have a lot of, hand-to-hand combat versus, shooting someone when I'm a hitman, right?
Especially if there's people just waiting their turn to fight you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what? Let's all have a good old-fashioned fisticuff, and I'll just keep the Kevlar, because you know what? That's what you bring to a gunfight is a fist fight, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So forget the Kevlar suit. because people are shooting. No, I'm gonna punch you. There it is. Yeah. All
Yep.
right. Okay. Sure. Fair.
Now, let's go back to the big club scene and talk about how unrealistic this movie is. During the scene, the sprawling nightclub is packed to the rafters with club goers who appear to be dancing to different music than that which is playing. That's not even close to the silliest thing about them, though, as though they were brainless party bots. They knew only how to dance. These morons would just
Has he
stand
been
there
to a club
gyrating,
lately? That's
right?
pretty much what it is. So, okay.
Stand there just gyrating poorly to generic cyberpunk music while people were being brutally slaughtered by an axe right next to them.
He apparently didn't see the second Blade movie.
Yeah, no doubt. None of them even bats an eye, runs away, or attempts to protect themselves. They just keep on dancing like NPCs inside a nightclub on Grand Theft Auto. It was some of the most negligent filmmaking I've ever seen. Simply put, there was no grace to this film, and it was a horrible way to end the franchise. To all of you,
He apparently doesn't know the franchise isn't over, but okay.
right? To all of you out there saying that this is the best action film of all time, maybe you should rent The Raid Redemption or The Raid 2. Those are action films done so well, they're basically art films.
He apparently is a producer of the Raid films.
Right? Iko Uwais is the most talented martial artist working in film today. Or, even easier, go rent Atomic Blonde. Well, okay. As a former ballerina, Charlize Theron was able to memorize in excess of 20 movies at a time, which
And
resulted
again, he
in
doesn't realize the people who made John Wick also made Atomic Blonde.
Yeah. Creating a very seamless, realistic effort to her fight scenes. The director referred to her as belonging to the top 1% of actors who can perform their own action. Atomic Blonde is one of the best action films of all time, and no one seemed to notice it. Such a crime. Anyway.
Charlize Theron's also an Academy Award winning actress, so she can act. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Anyway, John Wick Chapter 4 sucked. You're better off staying home and sticking your head in the oven. Don't waste your money seeing this film in the theaters. It'll be on cable eventually. So just wait for it.
Will it though?
This movie is where dreams go to die.
Will it though? Brad, you and I have both seen this movie. It'll be on streaming services. There's a lot of editing to get this movie on regular cable.
Right.
It may be on the paid networks, but it may be on your HBO and your Stars. But if you think this is coming to TNT anytime soon,
it's not.
It's probably not. Okay.
All right. So what do you think, man? So on the rage rating, what are we gonna give? What are we gonna give it, man? I mean, like, there was any good points?
Yeah, see, this is why I'm going to give it a 3.5 because he legitimately, especially at the beginning of it, the writer eventually, I'm saying he, but the writer honestly at the beginning had quite a few good points. However, again, things like compared to Atomic Blonde, again, not knowing the connection between Atomic Blonde and the John Wick franchise. The club scene, especially in a European-based action movie, an American action movie that is placed in Europe typically has those. It's a generic. He's right. It's one of those cliched films. I thought they pulled it off well, but again, they're like in every John Wick movie. Again, we saw it in Blade 2. It's not uncommon to see these club fights. You could make the argument in Kill Bill with the Crazy 88s.
Yeah.
So. That's again not an uncommon thing. And timeout when you compare Charlize Theron and anyone else, I personally am a fan of the John Wick franchise. I think Keanu Reeves is a very good actor. You don't go to these movies for I'm not saying there's no acting content because I think acting makes the movies, but at the same time, you go to these for the gung fu, for the fighting, for the unrealistic nature, for another reason than this. We're supposed to believe in, or I'm not going to say the hidden table thing because the Illuminati. We're not going to touch on the hidden table,
Yeah.
Or the high table, the hidden table. But the fact that everyone runs around in the movies wearing suits made of Kevlar and they're jumping around like they're made out of linen. I get the feeling, Bradley, you probably have worn more Kevlar in your life than I have. It isn't the lightest material in the world. So there's always going to be suspension of disbelief by the fact that John Wick multiple times falls from high heights, gets hit by cars, gets punched, and is walking by the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some fair points we can dissect if you would like to. But I'm going to give it 3 out of 4 on the rage meter because the person again did have some legit points.
I agree with you, man. I'm gonna say that through 3 rage emojis for this guy. Yeah, and we'll go in when we rate the movie.
Sure.
And I do have some thoughts about it.
Yes. The guy with the gold teeth, most definitely.
Man, dude, that was Scott Adkins, though, man. I mean, was
it really?
Yeah. That was Scott Adkins.
With all the obvious, my bigger thing with him was that you could tell it was a suit.
Right, it was a fat suit, and he was whipping those kicks and everything. Dude, that was Scott Adkins.
Okay.
Which, dude, I mean, great. I'm glad to see you in a movie like this, Scott Adkins.
Sure.
Because usually he's straight to video. And he's a great freaking actor, great martial arts. He should be Batman.
Could totally pull it off, by the way. Could totally pull it off.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. So what about this? So let's there's the review. We gave the rage rating. Let's go ahead and give me your thoughts on the movie. Give me your rating on the movie, and then we'll get into attack.
Perfect. So just get into a little bit of the movie. And again, you've got the scroll up. There will be spoilers. Trying to give away all the film. So number one, the film of the John Wick movies, this one I would say had the most flaws, in my opinion, of the Wick movie. But still quite enjoyable. Mm-hmm. So some of the issues were, and again, definitely not to be a spoiler, there's a major event happening in the first, I would say, 10-ish minutes of the movie that to me kind of took me out of it a little bit, kind of oh wow. But once you kind of got into that, there was a lot of things that I think weren't the strongest pieces, which is they talked about all the different pieces of the table and kind of keep track of who does what. So in 3 we had the adjudicator. Now we have, by the way, Clancy Brown, I thought did a great job.
Yeah.
But we had a bunch of different people that served roles with the table, but we didn't. But even keeping track of those, we saw a lot of what would be the inside part of the tables, the functionality. We saw it with Wick's family, those sorts of things. So I mean, while those things were good, those things could have been executed, I think, much better, much cleaner. The movie clocks in at just under 3 hours, and there was a lot of cramming of. I think they had enough stuff to make almost 2 movies. Out of all the stuff they put into, again, an almost 3-hour action movie. The action scenes were fantastic. As how I disagree with them. I thought the action movies played out very, very well. There was just a lot of them. This probably is the longest, but this one I felt had the most fighting scenes. And with any movie, the more fighting scenes you have, the less story time that you have. And that was unfortunately one of the things that, again, I still really enjoyed the movie, but that seemed like that ratio was off a little bit for some of the fights. But again, spoiler alert, where the movie got me back a bit was the 222 steps fight, which was fantastic. And I got to give it to the actor that played Kane. That character steals the movie in so many ways and harkens back, and again, spoiler alert, to the idea of the blind samurai. That was just done so well, and all the little pieces of, again, he's got superheroic powers, the fact of what he's able to do with no sight, right?
Yeah.
But the way that they mitigated it with the doorbells and hitting things from vibration echoes so quickly was done just masterfully. And we know, and so those of you that go see it, if you haven't, stay through. There is an Easter egg scene through the credits. I hope we get a spinoff. I don't know what the plan is, but I really hope we get a spinoff. Go for it, sir.
All right. So, what do you rate it out of 5? Let's do the 5 beardies. What do you rate it?
I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay, 4. All right. So, when I think of John Wick, I think mindless action, and that's going to overturn the plot, right? I think that John Wick Chapter 4 is too long. I think you're right. It should have been 2 movies, because the first hour of the movie didn't even matter to the movie.
No.
And the whole part about the desert, really, they didn't really explain that. He's supposed to be
and by the way, that was supposed to be this big, like, he's done all this stuff to find this guy.
Yeah.
It didn't even look hard.
Yeah. There was no reason. They didn't explain why he went to Japan.
Right.
And they wasted
knowing
that
he's being hunted. That he's been hunted. Yeah.
So, like, to me, it because that it took me out. Like, it's like, okay, so you're trying to tell a story now, but the whole story is about taking down the table, and yet you're not. I did not like Bill Skarsgård because they wasted him. They didn't give me any part of making me think that this guy is a badass motherfucker.
And this is where I will give the 1-star review a lot of credit. Mm-hmm. This is the first time that the villain seemed cartoonish.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the first time the villain seemed cartoon, and the style of dress, and like you said, they never gave us that chance to understand why he's so feared. I mean, he's got money and power, but that's part of being part of the high table, right?
Yeah.
And so he's sadistic. But unlike every other villain that we've seen in this, we've seen where the villains could hold their own, or we at least knew why they had such a formidable place. He's basically Joffrey Targaryen, just like a spoiled brat with a lot of money and a mean streak.
Yeah, it feels like he got his job because his dad had that job. Like that job was given to him. The marquee was given to him.
Right.
He didn't fight. He actually had Donnie Yen do all the fighting for him. Which Donnie Yen's character, fantastic. Mr. Nobody, his character, fantastic.
And was a bit wasted. Hopefully we get some more stuff with Mr. Nobody. By the way, I love seeing. By the way, I think you've watched the Winona Earp show on site, so it was great to see Officer Dawes getting some run there. And
that's who that was.
Yes. Oh. Marshall Dawes, as an officer, the Marshall Dawes.
Yeah.
But did you get the flip? Because one of the early interviews about John Wick 4, because again, there's been talk about, you've seen the movie Nobody, correct?
Yeah.
So there have been talk about if Nobody and John Wick occur in the same universe. And one of the producers, I forget which one, said that there will be kind of a nod to the Nobody film, and hence Mr. Nobody.
That's awesome. I did not know that. That's fantastic.
So again, there was between Skarsgård he could have done better with better.
Yeah.
And then the Mr. Nobody, because in the Mr. Nobody, why we needed a second movie, because there was so much undercurrent of his stuff. He had a very interesting story, but it got like we got no backstory. Because he seems like everyone else in the John Wick universe has some connection to organized crime. They're a member of the high table. They work under, I am of service. I have served, all that stuff, which is very cool. Like, it sounds like all the stuff the high table does is very closeted. And then with Mr. Nobody, all respect, I thought the performance was done really well, but he was a brother with a dog that's like, hey, I want to do this. They never really showed, was he part of a family? Was he, how is he even aware of all this stuff? But I did like the point, and again, spoiler alert, when he's negotiating his contract as a hitman, he goes, I also want you to contribute my 401k. I was done. I audibly laughed. I thought, that's fantastic. That makes sure my retirement fund is thinking that, is he going to live that long? But I love that. And we have our second cameo.
Go ahead. You can cameo.
Wait, hold on. Do you know something different?
Do we notice something different, Brian?
She's a little blurry, on my screen.
Oh, she wearing makeup? Are you wearing makeup?
No.
I don't know.
You wash your hair, change your clothes.
Oh, did you mohawk?
Oh my goodness!
You comb your hair? I don't. What's? All right, I'll figure it out.
Gotta get it right, Dad. Gotta get it right. Come
Sorry,
on now.
I switched to side button.
Oh, she switched the sides.
I can
Oh my
see.
goodness!
It's hard. I couldn't see her. That's the reason I wasn't aware of the side part. But Dad, yeah, you're gonna pay for that.
I'm gonna pay for that later, but yeah.
Yes,
So my rating, to me, this should have been 2 movies,
Absolutely.
and they should have flushed out the beginning better.
Yes.
I'm gonna rate this a 2.5 out of 5.
That's fair. I was over. You know what? You have convinced me. I'm bringing mine down from a 4 just because here's what it was. We both were, I think, really excited for the Battle of Keanu's when it was going to be Matrix 4 and John Wick 4, and neither one of them lived up to the expectations. I'll give it a 3. I'm going to revise mine and drop it down to a 3. Because I would expect you to say it's a 4.9 because you're the soft of the two of us. But it was a 3. It was it's worth your money. Again, it's fun, it's great, and again, you're not going for Citizen Kane,
right?
It is. I mean, the special effects are high quality. Everything is done. They invested a lot of money into this film.
Well, especially if you're going to give us a 3-hour movie, there has to be a plot, and and that the plot was so convoluted by what we want out of a John Wick movie, the fight part. Which, that's the part I didn't agree with, because like I'd say that scene with John Wick and the nunchucks. Yeah, I mean, like that is the new that beats Bruce Lee with nunchucks.
Yes,
hands down. That is the best nunchucks.
Yes.
When he was just kicking butt. I mean,
again, that's the other piece with the criticism of maybe he quit caring or Keanu. Again, let's read now. The movie was in the can a while before this, at least 2 years before, because of COVID. But let's still remember that minimally Keanu Reeves would have been 55 years old. Yeah, when this was going on, and he did the majority of his own stunts, the majority of his own fighting. And if you've never seen the videos of Keanu Reeves go through the legit gun training, to do this movie, and to really bring the character of John Wick to life. I mean, again, I would not mess with Keanu Reeves in a dark alley or a well-lit alley. With that being said, to then with the rolling around, there are definitely were those fisticuffs, excuse me, and like you said, that scene with the nunchucks. There is, I mean, you got to give the guy all the credit in the world that he did put his body on the line in order to bring John Wick to life. For sure. But the other thing there was so much, and last thing that I'll bring up anyway is again the proof that there should have been 2 movies is 2 things. Number one, even the piece when he goes home to his family, that was rushed and was kind of, he was there and then he was gone. And then the other piece of it is John Wick, because again, talk about when you kind of lose the plot, is John Wick. Okay, wife dies, leaves him a dog. They steal his car, hurt his dog. He goes in for vengeance. Okay. John Wick 2, because he got re-involved. They called his marker. He had to go and do these things. Wound up him killing a member of the high table, which leads us to John Wick 3. Then with John Wick 4, it just seems like, and again, we see with multiple characters, including Akira, go basically, if you just stop, we be fine. And there are multiple times in the movie where even the characters in the movie goes, this death is directly your fault. Had you not done Winston, Akira, lots of individuals in the movie pointed out that your vendetta is costing other people's lives, and he seems to not care. And that's the one thing the one thing that John Wick always brought was some level of morality to what he does, right? Yeah. That he's tortured about some of the things that he's done or has to do or will do. This one, they kind of, until the basically end of it, there was no soul with him. He just went about it, just did what he wanted to do, and damn the consequences, which was very un-John Wick-like. So that again was one of the things that I think also kind of threw us a bit and made it feel a little bit less like a John Wick movie.
Yeah, well done. Well said, man. All right, so what I thought we should do now is I want to go over some of the lesser known actors in the movie, and we're just
Please.
going to kind of go through their name, who they were in the movie, and then a little bit of their filmography. We'll do
Let's
this
hit
for
it.
a few minutes now. Everybody knows Keanu Reeves, and we will be doing a full episode on Keanu in the near future.
Yes, sir.
Everybody knows Lawrence Fishburne as well. We did Lance Reddick last week.
And by the way, not enough Lawrence Fishburne in the movie. Not enough.
Correct. Absolutely. All right. So Clancy Brown is amazing. Ian McShane is amazing. But even then, we're going to go a little bit further than that to Mia. Well, not Mia. Let's not do Mia. That was the girl. That was the daughter of Donnie Yen.
Yep.
But let's talk Tracker, where we know him as Mr. Nobody.
Yes.
Because, like, to me, he stole the scenes that he was in.
Absolutely.
And you know what? Like, I knew I seen him somewhere, and until you said a Wynonna Earp, that's where. But all right. So, his name is Shamir Anderson.
Yes, sir.
And his filmography is actually not too long.
He's a young guy. He's a pretty young guy.
Yeah, and the first thing we got was he was in 6 episodes of Overruled. And then he goes into another movie in 2010 called Nostrum. Never heard of that. Here is a movie that I have heard of because I have my oldest daughter, Kendall, watched this a lot. He was in not number 1, but Camp Rock 2, The Final Jam. Yes.
The Final Jam.
The Final Jam.
That's so ominous. It's just funny.
It's what Bravestar it's what Bravestar gives the
Final Jam.
The Final Jam. All right. Then from there, he was in a TV series called Todd and the Book of Pure Evil. Okay. From there, here is another series.
Is that like from like Army of the Dead? Because I thought that was the Book of the Evil, or is it so the Nostronomicon? Is it should we call Doctor Strange about the book? Because it sounds like there are a lot of Book of Evil running around here. You okay?
No idea. But next, here's
you got
a
the
TV show.
Darkholme and the Nostronomicon and just the straight up Book of Evil. Okay,
right. Here's one that I'm pretty sure you have heard of. He was in 2 episodes of the TV series Skins.
Nice.
Now from there, he was in another TV series or TV movie. Or no, actually, this is just a video even for Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure.
I feel like the only thing that tops the Final Jam is Sharpay's Fabulous Adventures.
Right.
Yes.
All right. From there, he was Duncan in the TV series King. I don't remember that one either. But from there, he was in one episode of Degrassi, the Next Generation. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Now we're going to get into a couple things that I've actually heard of here. He was in a TV movie where he played hipster Jeremy in Desperately Seeking Santa.
Which I feel is still better than Desperately Seeking Susan. I feel like that's still better. I don't think either one is probably that good, but I think that's still better than Desperately Seeking Susan. Absolutely.
And then I think he was discovered by Sci-Fi because the next show, he was in one episode of this was a very, very underrated show, Lost Girl. Remember that show?
Oh, the Succubus. Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
Lost. Oh God.
Yeah.
A lot of the sci-fi shows are Canadian series, which I believe he is also of Canadian birth as well. But anyway, that was just for all the reasons that Brad and I enjoy it. It was really a good show.
It was.
It
Yeah.
really was a very good show that, again, for those sci-fi folks, if you are someone that, habitually watches sci-fi, the network sci-fi,
Mhm.
you would have soon seen it, but, sci-fi is not nearly as many homes. A lot of the other networks really create like the TBS or TNT or, USA or anything like that. But still, Lost Girl, a very, very underrated show. Very
Yeah.
underrated series.
And then from there, he was in another show that you probably heard of, Saving Hope.
Yes.
He was in one episode of that. He was also in one episode of Rookie Blue. This is
All
we're
right.
up to 2012 right now.
Okay.
He was in a movie called The Barons, which I believe that came up before too. Let's see, here's another TV series called Played. He was in one episode of that. He was security guard number 1 in an uncredited role in Holidays.
Better than being security guard number 2, though.
Right. He was in another show that was very, very underrated, I believe, and ended too soon. The Tomorrow People.
Very good show.
Yes.
Very good show.
He was also in another TV series, this one I haven't heard of. This one was called Intruders.
Not heard of Intruders.
Here's another show that I'm sure that you've heard of. Now, this show not only was it a sci-fi show, but it also had a video game that went along with it, and this one is called Defiance.
Very good. Very good.
Another underrated show. Can you tell we like our sci-fi?
Well, these are shows. The thing what we're talking about is not only the show that you're on, but the network that you're on. Because these shows have been, now to be honest, some of these shows would have tried getting their traction on the big three: NBC, CBS, ABC, and you can throw Fox in that as well, or even TNT USA. Those second level, and for whatever reason, maybe they don't make the rotation or they don't have the ratings, so they get pulled into sci-fi. So that's why they get their run. But sci-fi gets a little nichey, and sometimes things get lost with it, especially for those heavier, deeper sci-fi shows. But again, definitely. We talked about a few of them already. Went on a Herb, not the Tomorrow People, but
Van Helsing.
Van Helsing. A lot of those are really, really great shows. So, by the way, we're not sponsored by Sci-Fi. But hey, if you want to sponsor us, we'll say nice things about you.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Absolutely. All right, sir. What's next?
Constantine. He was in the show Constantine for one episode.
Yes.
Let's see here. He was in another movie called Brave Town, Across the Line, Race. He was in the TV series Slasher. He was in one episode of that. Oh, back. He was in Killjoys. Another good sci-fi show. Man, TV series Pitch. They were up to 2016.
Another a Fox show that was definitely. Did you see much of Pitch when it was on?
Dude, it was so good. Paul Gosselaar.
Paul Gosselaar, yes.
Yeah, and then the main character is one of the main characters in that one with it takes place in Montana. Big Sky.
Yes.
Yeah, Big Sky. And she's a super good actress as well. She's gonna do some big things. Let's see here. He was in 2 episodes of Trailer Park Boys.
Of course he was.
Nothing says you're from Canada, because I don't talk good.
Right.
And then starring in Degrassi and Trailer Park Boys.
I think the Trailer Park Boys is their version of like Law and Order, where hey, you just gotta do like an episode. You get your feet wet, get your acting chops in. Yeah, we'll put down an episode of Trailer Park Boys. All
right. Here's a show I don't remember called Shots Fired. I don't remember that one.
I remember the name, but I don't know if I actually saw it.
Okay. Love Jacked. I don't remember that movie. Here's a good show. Dear White People. He was in one episode of Dear White People. That's a great show. Also an underrated show as well.
Very.
Went on for what 2017 to 2021, so 4 years.
Yep.
And now the show that I remember him the most in is Wynonna Earp.
Yes.
Oh man, so good.
And actually, his character's exit was a bit sudden and felt like there was a little to be left. I really liked the show. I personally felt where I lost a little bit of interest in. They really went hard in Winona's relationship with Doc Holliday, which I always thought that that was in the first couple seasons. That was it. Is it going to be kind of bit of a love triangle, or is it going to be Winona and Doc, or Winona and Marshall Dawes? And she obviously, again, if you've not watched the series, here's your spoiler alert: she winds up with Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
But I always felt that her and Officer Dawes chemistry made
so much
way
better.
more sense. Way more sense. By the way, Waverly, if you're watching, if you ever want to come on the show, feel free.
Yeah.
Feel free.
Yeah, absolutely. If it helps you, I'm related to Wider.
But are you the heir?
I mean, I do have someone the same blood. I mean, like, he's my great. I don't know how many greats, but an uncle. So
you are at least 27. So we should just give you the old school pistol,
right?
And see if it starts glowing. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
He was in the movie City of Lies in 2018. He was in the movie Endings, Beginnings. I don't recall that one. He was in a show. Here's another show that I keep on meaning to watch and I haven't. I put this in the same category as Bosch. Okay. Goliath. He was in Goliath.
Same.
Yes.
Always on the to do to watch slip and never quite get the trigger pulled.
Yeah. Right? So like Goliath and Bosch are in those shows like that I can never remember that I need to watch them. Right. So it's like when I'm looking for something to watch, I'm like, crap, I need, I just don't even think about either one of those two. So Goliath, we talked about that. He was in Son of the South, a movie in 2020. I don't recall that one.
Nope.
Bruised, another movie, 2020. He was busy in 2020. He was in a TV series called Soulmates, Stowaway. He was in Invasion on Apple TV.
Nice.
He was in 10 episodes, so he was in the entire thing. Have you seen that show?
Have not.
It's great. It is so great. A lot of nothing, Bruiser, and then John Wick Chapter 4, and he's got one upcoming project, and it's Tin Soldier.
Okay.
Nice. All right, so let's do. Well, first of all, Brian, anything surprise you in that run?
Well, I think what we see, especially again, being that he is a Canadian actor and knowing that sci-fi gets a lot of its content from Canada, just like Nickelodeon's early days got a lot of its content from Canada. It's not surprising we see him in a lot of those shows that we mentioned before, especially with Lost Girl. Lost Girl was such a good show. But also, I think if you have not watched Winona Earp, the entire series is on Netflix. He is one of the great. He honestly is probably my favorite character from that series. He's a really good actor. And if you have not seen John Wick 4, I think Mr. Nobody, really second only to Kane when it comes to stealing that move, and someone that actually I think has a great convoluted backstory, which he needs his own spinoff film because they did not explore that at all in John Wick 4.
Yeah, and the sad part is not to go back to John Wick 4, but it feels like he's setting up a team of these rogue assassins to take down the table with Halle Berry and everybody, but they don't.
Where's Common? Where's Common?
Right, yeah, dude, for sure. Hey, let's go through one more person that I think we need to give a little bit of love to. That was in John Wick Chapter 4, and that would be Rena. I'm gonna say this wrong. Sawamama. She was Akira in the movie, and just
by the way, what a baller name to give any person in a heavily Asian inspired, Asian cultural influence film, Akira. That is just like, talk about a little pressure with a character name.
Yeah. So she is actually a pop star as well, and she was a performer on the show Willow. Other than that, she's done a little bit of acting. She was in a TV series called Turn Up Charlie. I never heard of it. She did some stuff with Charlie XCX. Another. So really, John Wick Chapter 4 is her first big role, and I guarantee you, we haven't seen the last of her because she was fantastic in the movie.
Right. And again, there will be spoilers. That is why it's so important to watch through the credits of John Wick 4. They're a little long because it's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, I didn't.
But it definitely, this sounds a lot of kind of our critique of the Batman, which is really good parts. Some of the performances were exceptional, but 3 hours. But and you know, we sat through Endgame, and that was 3 hours, and it was a quick 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know, movies like Shawshank. I mean, having these long, lengthy, sprawling movies, that by itself isn't problematic. You just have to have a way of laying it out, and you have to have enough story to fill. Once you get past, especially the 2-hour mark, you really need a strong story and a reason to be going that long. And unfortunately, Wick 4, by what they gave us, just didn't satiate that 3-hour investment of time. But again, I agree with you. Rena's role as Akira, the daughter, was just done extremely well. And you're right, I get a feeling we have not seen the last of her.
Yeah, man. She's gonna get some good stuff coming up, man. So with all that said, I think we need to talk about our human of the week.
All right, sir. Our human of the week. So I went back and forth on this, but honestly, for all the things that between the two of us, as well as our 1-star reviewer gave us, there is still so much awesomeness to be had in John Wick chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. And at some point, it looks like there will be a chapter 5. I got to give Keanu Reeves a ton of credit. Talking about someone who has just reimagined his career over and over and over again. So when you think about just the roles he's played, he goes from Theodore Ted Logan and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure to Speed to, again, I mean, I love him in Hardball even.
Yeah.
What
was the movie with The Replacements?
Yes. Dude, The Replacements.
Such a good movie.
Philco. By the way, Gene Hackman looks like that football coach you should have, right?
Yeah.
By the way, Bradley, do you remember who was one of his teammates in The Replacements?
Orlando Jones?
That and Jon Favreau.
He was.
Who is the writer and creator of The Mandalorian. It all runs together.
So, which means Keanu needs to get into Star Wars.
Well, you know, there have been rumors that they were trying to recruit him for
Revan.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Revan. They want him to be Revan.
Yeah. So there's definitely been offers of trying to get him into the MCU, and I think anything that he does, he'll bring that to that. And you know what? As the guy, I think, is fantastic and does not look almost 60 years old, but he does have that ability to be that older statesman, that wise warrior. Whether you bring him in something Star Wars related or Marvel related, he absolutely can play that role excellently. But given all the things that he's done, all the joy. By the way, this is proof of how good you are. When you step aside from a franchise, he made a bus flying on an overpass seem legit.
Yeah.
Okay, seem legit. And then the minute he's going like, wait, there's a bomb on a boat. No, that's too far. Yeah.
Would you like to see him reprise his role in Speed? Would you be down for an honest to God Speed 2?
3? Well, yeah, or whatever.
I mean, we can forget Speed 2. Cruise Control.
Okay.
Yes, we know this.
We've played with some of the worst titles ever, like, okay, the Final Jam and all that, but Cruise Control might be the worst one. That may be of movie titles. And again, as we said before, sometimes when you plan a trilogy, you stop at 2. Sometimes you have a sequel, you stop at 1.
It's like Speed 3. Pull over now.
Pete, here it is. Speed 3. Parallel parking.
All right, you just won the episode. That one.
There's
Parallel parking.
There's a bomb on a minivan, hot shot, and if you don't parallel park in 13 seconds, it's gonna blow up. What do you do?
The camera's disabled.
They'd have to dig up Dennis Hopper. You know what they should do? R.I.P. to Dennis Hopper. That's got to be Sean Penn. Like right now, I'm calling it. Since Hopper's gone, you got to get his boy Sean Penn to be the psychopath.
No. Sean Astin.
Wow. Or Rick Astley. I mean, we just keep going.
Right, yeah. There's no wrong answer here.
Yeah, yes, there is. The dude from Speed 2. Yes, there's a wrong answer.
Actually, no, get Jason Patrick to be the villain in Speed 3.
It's similar to like Spider-Man Across the Multiverse. When we were trying to bring in poor Andrew Garfield, was like, dude, we got to give at least one decent movie out of this. Same thing with Jason Patrick, dude. We're sorry.
Right.
We're sorry. You tried. You weren't giving a whole. Sandra Bullock was right there with you, man.
Right.
But she at least had a career, won an Oscar later.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Well, which Keanu Reeves actually worked with her again in The Lake House, which is another really good movie.
True. I mean, and that which is proof that if you ever don't like your mail, to see if it went back in time.
Right.
Maybe it's back in time.
Yeah.
All right. But with all that being said, I got to give my Better Human of the week to the Baba Yaga, to the Boogeyman. I got to get to Keanu Reeves because, again, for all the shots we've taken at John Wick 4, and they are legitimate, it is still, number one, better than Matrix 4. Like, here's where it won me over Matrix 4. And again, spoiler alert, at the very beginning of John Wick 4, they gave us Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah.
They gave us, and at that point, I literally went, this is better than Matrix 4.
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
If nothing else happens.
Right.
This is better than the last Matrix movie.
Right. Just a black screen with maybe some green code coming up.
Yeah.
It's better here.
Like, speaking of, could we talk about the runtime? At that point, for those that have seen Matrix 4, if they would have just ended the movie within the first half hour when you get Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu on the screen at the same time, that's it. That's it. You've earned my money.
Yeah, it's like the Star Wars sequel trilogy. All they ever had to do to make it successful was put Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford together in one scene, and that was it. Everything else they could have done everything the same as long as they worked in one scene that was the same.
Yeah,
had all three,
and they never gave it to us.
Because that would make sense. Like, hey,
yeah. Because here's what we want to see. We want to see a dude hang with his sister and his brother-in-law, right?
Yeah.
That never happens.
Right.
That never happens. And he's a little butthurt because his nephew's a jerk. Okay.
Right. Give us a flashback to the wedding, Han and Leia's wedding.
Could you imagine if Chewie hair got in the cake? Just be like, Chew, no. Like the Ewoks are running around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Have you ever had Wookiee steak? It's Chewy.
You took it from me. I was winning until that moment. You took it from me. You took it from me, sir. Yes. That was the dad joke of all dad jokes right there, my friend. Yes, sir. You own that one. So I gave it to Keanu. Who is your Better Than Us Human of the Week, sir?
My best human of the week, I was inspired through The Mandalorian. And mine is Ahmed Best, who redeemed himself. I mean, I don't want to say redeemed because I don't think, the man has fought through so much, from contemplating suicide because the hate that he received for the character that he portrayed, because of a lot of toxic, stupid, motherfucking dumbasses Star Wars fans. Is that fair? Is that fair to say that?
That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
All right, cool. Because there is a lot of toxic fandom in Star Wars, and I don't get it. Yes, that's fine. But Jar Jar Binks, he's part of Star Wars.
Yes.
He's gonna be there. And the fact that they brought him back as the name is Bex. Bex. But anyway, and the character that they created to do a YouTube game show for kids, and they brought him back, that character back, and he's the one, the sabered hand, the one that saves Grogu.
Yes.
amazing, fantastic, played, wonderful, man. He gave I for a second there I thought it was Mace Windu.
Right?
I mean,
Right.
man,
When you texted me that, I had to go back and rewatch them, like, because I really thought, because at first I thought, okay, I'm just not, okay, first I just saying, like, I thought it was Mace, and then I thought, okay, well, did it do some type of CGI? Like, who is this? And then it was funny because you kept going, have you seen The Mandalorian? I saw, like, because I watched it, I got through the train, I had to get ready for a meeting, so I finished it later, and then you go, and then I rewatched, I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, like, it was, and you talk about toxic fandom. We've talked about this before. So we throw out shots at things because, again, we can. And we're fans. But, again, just like I just said, for all the things we criticize John Wick about, it's still, I'm a fan. I'm going to go, when it comes to chapter 5, I'm going to be there with chapter 5.
Right.
And let's remember, folks, just real quick, to get quiet just for 2 seconds. Understand this, folks. They don't owe us anything.
No.
We're fans. They create the movies. The way that you express that you really dislike, we make fun of Jar Jar all the time, is just don't watch the movie. Don't go to the premiere. Don't buy the merchandise. Don't invest in the swag if it really is that much of a deal breaker. Or you can take some lessons from your buddies, Bradley and Brian over here, and just find the humor in it. Just find the humor in it. One of the great cherished memories I have with my kid is sitting on the weekends and binging Avatar: The Last Airbender. Okay, and I was real excited when the last Airbender movie came out. And M. Night, well, we got what we got.
Hopefully that'll change. Hopefully that's going to change. We're getting a live action.
I'm not sitting there saying go blow up M. Night Shyamalan's house because it's a sucky version of the movie. It sucked. It stunk. And life will continue. So,
but, it's again that memory makes that movie so much better than it actually is because of the memory that goes along with it.
Exactly.
And that's what movies are supposed to be about. And maybe it's not the best piece of art, whatever. But man, what has it given to you emotionally? And
and I got to give it to Lucas, who knows that there's so much Jar Jar hate out there. If you ask George Lucas at any time, his answer is always the same. Who is your favorite character in the entirety of Star Wars? His answer is always Jar Jar Binks. And that is proof of someone who gets what his product is, his characters is, and he double downs on it going, you know what? If that's the character you hate the most, then he is my favorite.
That's fair, man. I did not know that. But
yes.
That's
in any interview since episode 1, Phantom Menace came out, when he's been asked who is his favorite character, his answer is always Jar Jar Binks.
That's awesome, man. You know what? All right, let's go ahead. Where can we find you? We'll go ahead and put a pin in it.
All right, where can we find this one? You can find me on Facebook at Brian Stephen Dennis, on the Book of Faces. So give me a like, give me a follow, throw me out a friend request. I try and keep the Facebook page light and lively and enjoy. So please come along for the ride.
Yes, you can tweet. Never mind. Facebook.
I was about to say, really want to tweet at you? You really?
I don't even know why I still even have. I haven't opened it up in months. Facebook at the Fandemic. Pretty much anywhere that there's social media. If you look at me up on the Fandemic, you're gonna find us. If you want to support the show, there's several ways you could do so. One, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/the Fandemic, or go to Amazon to buy my books, Leveling Up My Awesome and Stuffed Animal Night Force versus the Dream Invaders. Also, I'm working on my third book right now. Hopefully, give them maybe 2 months. That should be out. More to come on that later. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/PVOTN Fandemic. You can become an episode assistant, episode producer, a pre-veg producer like Stacy, or yes, you could be part of the Council of Nerds, starting at around $5 a month. Become a monthly supporter on anchor.fm/PVOTN. Or you know what? Just share the show with someone you want to make a little more awesome. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review and keep the conversation live in the comments. All right, so thank you for leveling up my awesome and becoming part of the Fandemic family. Brian, I think we are at max levels of awesome for the week.
Yes, sir.
And like we do every week, on a positive note, what's your words of wisdom?
Well, first off, my words will be for you, Bradley. So when you write your third book, I already have the title and usually it's going with the story, which is, I would say it's kind of like when you go under the bed and slowly pull out that box. You should name your next book, The New Adventures of Woody and Buzz. And with...
Actually, you know what? I think Brian, I am going to write a kid's book, and it's going to be titled The Little Box.
The little box that could. I think I can. All right. So with that, oh God. Okay. With that, again, thank you all for leveling up. You're awesome with us. It's always the best part of my week. Please remember, no retreat, no surrender, and Goonies, never say die.
We're all playing the same game in life, just on a different level. You're welcome for leveling up. You're awesome. Live free or die empty. If you think about it, every time you feel stupid, you just got a little smarter. Squirrels' cheeks are also their nutsacks. And remember, don't let today end in a why didn't I? A bye-bye.
Bye-bye.